All right. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Aware Show's Motivation Mondays. There is a reason we do Motivation Mondays. I read all these great statistics about Mondays, and as you would think, Mondays are the single day of the week when people are shown to be the least productive. They don't even crack a smile until 11:16 a.m. This was a study that was conducted in England, which might make sense. There's a European Journal of Epidemiology that says that the most of heart attacks happen on Mondays. It's the highest day of depression. So this is what we're doing, is we're here to counteract all of this. We're here to provide solutions. Mostly, we're here to provide community, because you're with your tribe all weekend, then you come here on a Monday and you're feeling a little more isolated. Maybe you're back to work. You're not feeling super connected. So this is a way to feel connected and to have the best week ever, and to also empower yourself with a lot of great tools, brilliant people. We're always on the Aware Show. My whole goal here is to inspire positive growth and change. And every single week we bring you cutting edge information that'll help you do just that, that will help you improve the quality of your life, your health, relationships, whatever it is. So consider this, the Aware Show, as Motivation Mondays, to be your hub, your connection, your community, your tribe. And so I just want to ask you just to bring all of your attention into this moment, wherever it was from your Monday or wherever it's going to be in the next day. Just bring it all right into here, into this moment, because that is the way you will learn the most and gain the most of the feeling that this transformational media broadcasts. It's a transmission, really. So just call yourself right into this moment right here, right now, and spend this time for you, because I have an absolutely brilliant guest who is going to pour into you not only her words, but her energy in this particular show. So I do want to make a quick announcement. My guest, Dr. Sue Morter, and I did a fabulous show on Gaia. And if you go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/Sue, S-U-E, you will see that show, which is airing for free. We have it available to everyone. You don't have to be a subscriber to see that. If you are a subscriber, awesome. And you can go see the Sue Morter show that I did. And also Sue has a show on the Gaia Network as well. So it's all very exciting. So we're together in a lot of things. Dr. Sue and I are in Year of Miracles together. She was there for me very deeply when my father passed, which we haven't even had a chance to download, but we do it on these energetic levels, because Dr. Sue operates with the biofield. This is what her body of work is all about. She created and the founder of the Morter Institute of Bioenergetics, which is an international destination for healing and wellness education, which we're doing today. She is the creator of the Energy Codes coursework, which is a program we're going to talk about today. It's a step-by-step system of embodiment that heals, that really helps you heal on every level, mentally and emotionally and spiritually and physically, because all of this exists in our beautiful biofield that we have, even through Zoom together. Hi, can we hold hands? There we go. Hi. You're right next to me. Welcome, Dr. Sue. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's always such a delight to be with you and to talk about things that matter most in life, and to be plugged into the idea of motivation is, that's such a spark that is needed for everyone. As people are learning to find their passion and to live from that place. Absolutely tuning into something like this is key. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. Especially with all of the noise that is in our environment today, Dr. Sue. I mean, you could get stuck into the theatrics of CNN all day with the this and the that, and the vibration is dense, and you can start to feel very, very heavy with the constant news of the day and the constant barrage of information that is, sometimes it's really difficult to hear about our planet and our environment and so forth. So what you offer is you offer a way to become the solution and emanate that. And let's talk about the energy codes. What are they?
Certainly, you know, in relative to what you were just talking about, the energy codes are a way of us remembering who we are in the middle of all the barrage of information and noise that is happening in the outer world. Ultimately, what we want to do is to be able to live from our deep core interior self, our authenticity, our deep truth, and to be able to hold that in our awareness as we engage out into the world and participate in the chaos without becoming chaotic. And so the energy codes are a way of remembering the truth of who we are, and being able to maintain that when the world gets loud.
Yes.
And so it's a set of principles to understand how the universe works and how we're supposed to be operating inside of it, and practices that we can do to build a superhighway really between our deep core authentic true self and our engaging thinking personality self that's out here on the surface of life, having to have a job and engage with people and pay the bills and do the things that we have to do. So all those tasks in the mundane life become easier, especially when the noise goes up,
Yes.
for us to do if we're plugged into something that's bigger than all of it, and we never lose sight of it. So the energy codes are about building neurocircuitry to perceive a deeper sense of self, no matter what's going on in the outer world. In short, how to maintain your sanity on the inside, no matter what's going on the outside.
I know you personally use this information. You have for years, and you, for many, many, many years, you have been in clinical practice, in your clinics, teaching and helping people and really making drastic changes in people's physical and emotional body. But I also know that you personally have taken on about 10x, about 100x more than you've ever taken on in your life. But you do it. You chose this. You chose this. You're not overwhelmed. Oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But you have really, I'm really impressed, girl. You really practice. You really practice what you do. You must. You widened your space to handle so much more this year.
Yes. Well, the way I'm doing it is through this work that I'm teaching. If I didn't practice what I'm teaching, there's no way that I could do what I'm doing. When I used to be a doctor just in a clinic only and managing other doctors that were working for my clinic and managing as staff, a team that was running the clinic, and then managing all the patient cases on top of that, I used to think I was really busy. And actually that was nothing compared to what I'm doing now. I get on an airplane every week and I travel somewhere in the world where I'm teaching and speaking and training people how to change their perspective on who they are and what's happening. Yes. And I am, you know, doing the new TV show on Gaia, and I'm co-hosting along with you, the Year of Miracles, and I'm teaching my own coursework. We're putting on over 50 events. The Institute is putting on over 50 events this year to train people on how to take their life into their true authentic hands. And so, yes, I'm full stride.
This is what our Motivation Mondays is for. Is Dr. Sue's a perfect person for this, because you do this, and the only way you can manage what you're managing is if you actually practice what you talk about. And it expands your sense of self.
Yes,
it does.
You know, in my world, my essential self is one that is here to discover, to crack the code of life, to teach it, to share it, to allow people to heal and to facilitate their own awakening to their own magnificence. And in anyone's world, their purpose on the planet is a particular version of figuring out who they are and sharing their gifts with the world, no matter what their job is, no matter how they're doing it, whether they're a mother that's raising kids, or whether they have a job with their own business with employees, or a job where they're showing up to someone else's idea of what the day should look like.
Yeah.
All of it is to be interpreted as our practice of refining our true magnificent self. So it doesn't matter what we're doing. It matters why we're doing it and how we're going about doing it from the inside out, that will ultimately determine if we are what we're referencing as motivated or inspired and engaging and wanting to do what we're doing. And there's a way to want to do anything that you're doing. And that's what is so important for people to realize, that you don't have to find the ideal career in order to be happy. You have to be happy in whatever career you're in. And that's not so easy either. So you have to find, what is it that happiness is a byproduct of?
Yes.
and start tapping that. So that's what I'm doing.
So once you find that, or if you are taking a passion of yours and turning it into something that you want to be your career, your hobby, I mean, you're turning your hobby into your career, how is it that you can expand your energy and be in that place of attracting the right environment or relationships and so forth using the energy codes? How does that work?
Yeah, so a couple of the principles of the energy codes are that you are made of energy, and so is everything else. Everything in the whole manifest world is just energy. And if we can learn to manage the energy, then we start to feel a sense of fulfillment no matter what we're doing. If we can learn to be in charge of the energetic experience that we're having on the inside, we can manage our way into a sense of fulfillment and satiation, no matter what's going on in the outside world, no matter what we have to be doing on the outside. We can be doing something on the inside of us that will allow us to feel what we want to feel. People want to feel fulfilled. They want to feel like they make a difference. They want to feel like they matter. They want to feel a connection. They want to feel love. No matter what you're doing, you want to be able to access love, and so on. And there are a few other things as well. But those are some of the basic fundamental things that we're seeking, no matter what that takes on as an out picturing. However it looks, it boils down to, we want to know that we matter. We want to know that there's a reason for life, the life that we're living, and that we're contributing, and that we're making a difference, and that matters. And so one of the things that we're doing is teaching people how to cultivate presence, to cultivate the presence of them inside of whatever they're doing. They're going to have a greater sense of self. They're going to have a sense of well-being. They're going to have a sense of joy and passion, even though they're not doing anything that's causing them to feel passionate or joyful in their job or during their day. There's something that we can be doing on the inside every day, all the time, as a way of living that would allow us to have these experiences regardless of what's going on in our outer world.
Yes, so you're not a victim. There's no circumstances. It's not them versus us. It is, you are completely in control of your own domain inside your own body that is the embodiment of what it is that you want to do or be or contribute to the world. Did I get that right?
Yeah. So think about if you discovered, the thing I know that you're doing, your passion, you love what you do, and you're so passionate about it and good at it, that it's obvious that it's, it's your path, it's your dharma, it's what you're here to do.
Yes.
And some people don't feel that they're able to be doing what they're here to do. But there is a way that they could have the feeling, even though the doing is not exactly that. And this is something that our culture didn't teach us growing up. We were taught, of course I feel this way, look what you just said. Of course I'm upset, look what you did.
Yes.
Of course I'm not happy, look at my circumstances. And as we live that way, we are completely disempowering ourselves without even knowing it. So the object first is, how do I generate this felt sense of well-being and hopefulness and joy on the inside of me? And I am responsible for everything that happens on the inside of this skin. And that's not what we were taught. We were taught that the outer world is basically determining what's going on in your inner world. And it's actually the reverse. What's going on in your inner world will ultimately determine what goes on in your outer world. But I'm just interested in this conversation, in this moment, in order to inspire and motivate people, have them to recognize you can choose any experience that you choose to have, anytime, anywhere, no matter what. So how do we go about doing that?
Yeah.
First, we have to realize who we are. We have to realize where we're supposed to be living in our bodies, not just in our head, because our head is pretty much oriented to the outer world. We're picking up on our senses. We're monitoring what people are doing. We're looking at their body language. We're looking at the calendar. We're assuming that that's going to have some semblance of my day. And we just automatically toss all of our power onto the outer world. We just give it away. We don't even know we're doing it because we've been doing it all of our lives. So some of the first things that we do is teach people how to stop doing that and to pull it back, pull your power back, claim it back inside, literally, like physically, pull your power, your energy back inside your own system so that you can use it for the experiences that you'd like to be having on the inside. So no matter what's going on, you can do it.
It makes so much sense because you can't operate out there if you're not in your body. But if you say to somebody, get in your body, no clue what that means. Like there's no reference point for something like that, to be in your body. In that show that we did on Gaia, the one at the theawareshow.com/Sue, I had an experience during that show that was literally Sue putting me into my heart. And it was so beautiful. My heart just burst wide open, and then I lost it on the show. And
oh, you found it on the show, my dear.
I did, because that level of living is so full on, and you can take on things that you want to do, and you can expand your capacity, and you let go of the blaming and the complaining. It all goes away, and you realize that your belief systems show up all around you all day long. So why not be in control of that belief system? I always say, if you want to know what your belief systems are, look at the results in your life. Can you change that? Can you change that? Yeah.
You can absolutely change that.
Yeah.
So belief systems, when we're living in our heads, our beliefs have a much bigger effect on us. That when we're living in our heads, our beliefs consciously and subconsciously steer us in certain directions, attract certain circumstances to us, build certain kinds of relationships, take or miss certain opportunities, all because of filters that we have on top of our true self. So if we drop down into the true self, which resides in the gut, in the core, in the heart, in the deep wisdom centers below our navel even, billions of bits of information are bombarding our energy field every millisecond, and they don't arrive at our head, they arrive in our gut. So if we're tapped into that gut and we're breathing in that gut and we're in our personal power and our esteem and we're finding that sense of grit and self no matter what somebody says or does, and then we're able to be flourishing in our heart space, we have a different voice inside of us that guides us and directs us, that shows up loud enough that we can hear it and respond to it. And that voice is the voice of authenticity. We call it that small, still voice, that whisper, but I don't want it to be a whisper or small or still. I want it to be big and active and revealing constantly, and it's supposed to be. But we weren't raised in a culture that taught us how to do that. So that's what we're doing. We're teaching people how to get down in their bodies, breathe in their bellies, breathe their wisdom awake, and allow their heart to flourish, and that voice be loud enough that it comes out their mouth, and instead of being able to be shut down and kidnapped, hijacked.
It's so cool because you've taught this in the clinical practice for many, many, many years. And this year, you've just come out with the book, The Energy Codes, and a course on it, which makes it available to all of us who aren't in Indianapolis to go to the clinic, and which I really appreciate, because what you teach is so applicable to every single person. sometimes I have a hard time on explaining exactly what are the energy codes and how do they work in the body. I know it's a step-by-step process. So the first step would be really getting into your body, right?
Sure. We have in the book, it depicts that the first thing that you have to do is anchor yourself in the body and learn how to do that. And
Right.
then the next thing you do is start to feel in the body rather than think in your head. And then the next thing you do is you learn to clear out old stuff that's blocking and keeping you from feeling your true emotions, your true feelings, your true essence. And then we move into the next code is the heart code, which teaches people 1,000 ways to love, basically ways to find love in all kinds of circumstances that you never would have known, never would have seen, never would have perceived it that way.
Wonderful.
And
Wow. That makes sense.
going.
That's where I was. Yes.
That's what
Uh-huh.
happened with us that day on the show. Yes. So, and then it moves into all sorts of different breathing techniques that allow people to activate and enliven different aspects of their own true self that have been sitting dormant because their protective personality took over in their life, or their performing personality took over as an attempt to make it in the world, thinking that we have to work hard to make things happen in our favor. And that's not the truth. It's just the way it looks when we don't know who we really are. And then I go into the chemistry code and those kinds of things. But what you were, and then the spirit code is the end, is the seventh one. So what you were asking was, how does it work in the body? Like, break it down. Let's make it simple. So
And you did
basically,
a great job. I mean, I got all that. That was really good. That was really clear. Okay. But yes. Okay. So how does it work in the body?
okay. So first things first, if everyone just realizes that when you're upset, you get a knot in your stomach or a lump in your throat or tightness in your chest, or something happens physiologically in your body. And it sometimes is kind of a signal that we kind of notice, but mostly we just are upset and we react to it. We either hide or we fight or we speak into it or we ignore it and we suppress it and then get sick because we suppress it all the time.
Right.
Something happens there. So I'm just asking people to slow down and notice that actually the miraculous thing is trying to happen through your body. Self-healing is trying to happen through your body. Soulful stewardship is trying to happen through your body, and you're ignoring it because you're so afraid, you're so busy outrunning it, that you never get to catch the message that's right here in front of you. And so the next time you get a knot in your stomach, a lump in your throat, tightness in your chest, I'm going to invite you to, instead of trying to get rid of it, instead of ignoring it or suppressing it or taking something so that you don't feel it, or getting out of the situation so that you don't feel it, which disempowers you and doesn't ever allow you to build the circuits to lean into these situations that you have to be in life. And so let's just do something different. What you're going to do next time is you're going to squeeze it back. If there's a knot in your stomach, a lump in your throat, a tightness in your chest or something, your body's trying to compress for a reason. And it's a longer explanation, but it's so fun to understand what's really going on there. But we don't have time to go into that here, but we can do that at another setting. But what is trying to happen is your body is trying to anchor you and try to get you to stabilize instead of flying off the handle and getting freaked out and spinning out and getting overwhelmed and stressed out. So the way that the body is automatically trying to do that is it's trying to anchor you and quicken you and lock you down in a way that tethers you. Think of it like a boat that wants to have, you're out on a boat and you're in the lake and you're in this big cove and you want to have lunch. So you throw an anchor over the edge and tie it off so that you don't drift away and you can, break out your beautiful picnic lunch or whatever. I'm just dreaming of days I used to have when I was, out on my boat on the weekends. And so in that, we're anchoring ourselves. The body's trying to do it for you automatically, but we override it and we think, oh, that's a problem, that knot in my chest. So if you would just learn to collaborate with the universe and with your body and with nature and to plug into the fact that everything's trying to support you, but we've just interpreted it in a totally different way. So you squeeze it back, you hug it. So let's say I get a knot in my stomach when somebody says something.
Yes.
So instead of oh, make me sick, make me nauseous, I'm just going to squeeze the knot in my stomach even more. I'm going to squeeze it, and then I'm going to start taking breaths while I'm squeezing it. I'm going to start to breathe up and down, ideally, this central channel of the body. But even if you don't know how to do that, you can just start breathing belly breaths while you're squeezing your stomach. And your mind is going to be like, how do I squeeze and breathe at the same time? But I promise you, all you have to do is start doing it. And within a day, you're going to figure it out, even if I'm not teaching you. So there are many, 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 many practices to the energy codes. But I would love for people to just recognize that your body is on your side. It's always trying to help. And all we have to do is start listening to it. So the next time you get a lump in your throat or tightness in your chest, you get tightness in your chest, you just squeeze it back. You just hug it like on the inside. You just squeeze it a little bit. Take a breath in your belly from in the earth, breathe up to your belly, and then imaginary, just shoot it right up out the top of your head. And then the next breath, take a breath from above your head, right down into the belly, and then exhale right down into the earth. That's a central channel breath that is a result of an energy field that runs through your body all the time. And when you hook onto it, it starts helping you instead of being something that you're oblivious to, and so you never get the benefits from it.
Or contracting so much that you, as you say, you cause disease.
Exactly.
Yeah, it solidifies into disease. That's a key right there. That is a key element, the central channel breath. And all of this, by the way, is explained in the Energy Codes course, which is in depth in each one of these exercises and practices where you can really learn about, it does take a much deeper hours of explanation, yeah, that thing, and information. So you got to go through it, and we'll get to that in a minute. You can find it at theawareshow.com/energy codes. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But this idea of this central channel breath is key to not going into contraction, going into resistance, going into victimization. And I want to ask you now, and by the way, we're going to have our wonderful audience here ask you questions in a little bit too. So everyone gets to participate, and that's the whole point of feeling like a tribe, is how do you then turn any of this into manifestation? So I know that there's a way that this links somehow to manifestation.
You bet it does.
Oh, good.
So we manifest in our outer life in accordance with what we're allowing to land inside of our own consciousness, inside of our own perception of self, how we value ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how all of this is unfolding is a reflection of the self. It's a reflection of self-esteem, self-empowerment, and knowing the self, the authentic, true self. If we manifest any other way, things manifest, but they don't stick, they don't last, or maybe they don't even manifest at all.
Right.
So, so basically what's happening is something happens inside of us where we accept a greater version of who we are. And then because of that, we emanate an energy field that changes its vibrational frequency. And when its vibrational frequency changes, we now attract and allow different opportunities, different circumstances to manifest in our lives. If we do not have a sense of power, for instance, our solar plexus below, just above our navel, there's an area in the body that is supposed to be open and breathing and open and breathing. It's low, it's lower in the body than we breathe when we breathe in our upper lungs, and it's above the belly breath. It's kind of in between. And I teach people how to access and expand that. And people are having such a greater sense of self and self-esteem and a knowingness of their own personal power that they're able to take so many different steps, answer situations, questions so differently in their lives, speak their truth, and get what they want. They're able to turn life into a process of manifesting what their dreams are as projects, rather than taking them so personally and being so afraid that it might not happen, or being so intimidated to even step into it. It's like those thoughts don't even occur to them because they're not living in their head about it. They're living in their gut. They're living in their core. They're living in their true self. And in those moments, we emanate a different energy. Everybody knows what that feels like when you know that you know that you know something.
Yeah, the zone, when you're in that zone. Yes.
Glow. And that glow is a real thing. It's measurable, it's tangible. Science is all over that right now, depicting it, dissecting it, figuring out what it is. And what they're noticing is that there is more space between the particles in our energy field. There's more spaciousness, which allows for more abundance, which allows for transformation. It allows us to rewire who we are and what's happening much more easily because we're not so contracted and compressed. So when we just squeeze this little area, but we start breathing through it, the breath starts to open it up. Even though we're hugging it, we're really just holding a space for this amazing transformational work to take place. And that allows us to unpack these old limiting beliefs, and you don't even have to figure out what they were. They just dissolve and are no longer locked up in your body. You start to breathe this spaciousness, and it just untangles the old pattern that was locked up before. So we don't even have to know what the limiting belief was that was keeping me from manifesting in order to start manifesting. We just change who we are underneath all that story. And the next thing you know, things start expanding.
That's the experience that I've had when I've spoken with you. And when I've done the energy codes and when you've worked with me on it, it simply expands. It's not a 5-step process to how to manifest your dreams. This is a true experience. The biofield is absolutely real. I mean, this is what Dr. Sue's talking about. Our energetic body around us emanates, it is measurable now. There are devices and machines and everything that can measure the biofield. We are constantly emanating this field on the outside of us of our frequency. And if we're inside, tangled up in our heads of what we don't want, and that we're a victim of this, or the circumstance changed there, or this happened, it's just emanating as physically out into our field. And so the only way to really change your environment, your life, is you've got to start from these codes inside the body, and then they emanate out. Is that kind of a idea, as like paraphrasing what you were just talking about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well done.
And I'm getting it. Yay! It's taken me 6 interviews, but I got it.
Right. See, this is gettable. This is gettable information. So yes, there's a lot of science to it, but you don't have to know the science in order to do the practices. That's the beautiful thing. And if you're interested in the science,
I like the science piece. It helps me take it out of just the woo-woo and put it into reality.
Yeah. So there is a biofield there that is unconscious. And we actually have the capacity to bring it into a conscious state. We can become aware of the biofield. It's bioenergetics moving that biofield. As it moves, we process and metabolize life. Every time we have a thought and we have a revelation or we have an aha, that biofield starts to move. And when we become innovative and creative, and when we're inspired, the biofield starts to move even more. And the more it moves, the more it flushes out stuff that's no longer appropriate based upon the new ideas that we're having and the new things that we're claiming for ourselves. So when we set a goal, we set a dream for ourselves, and we set that in motion with the breath, it also starts to move that field. So then when it's moving, our sensory nervous system can pick up on it. And the next thing you know, more and more information is rising up from our guts and through these energy centers of our body that contain levels of consciousness. Those aspects of knowingness are being made available to our mind. Instead of us just living in our heads and learning information and living from that information that we learned, we now have access to an entire flow that is reverberating and recycling and gathering upon eternal wisdom and gathering upon inherited wisdom and all kinds of energies of knowingness. 11 billion bits of information are bombarding us every millisecond, and it arrives at our gut. We want that information to come up to our head so that we don't miss it. So we're teaching people how to set this biofield in motion and recycle it so that it catches the energetics, the photons, it catches these little particles of information, particles of energy, and starts to metabolize them in a way that all of a sudden we're having these revelations. We're having this deep knowing. We're having these ideas that we were stuck on before because our system was stagnant. That biofield isn't intended to be static. And when we're operating same old humdrum every day
Right.
and not learning how to move it, then we are not inspired. We're certainly not motivated.
And we get heavy, very heavy. I mean, figuratively, and yes, both physically. Now, can you explain in the course? So this is the first time you've ever done the Energy Codes course. This is brand new, very exciting that you've put this all into a digestible course for all of us. Tell us a little bit about it, if you could.
Okay.
And if you guys want to follow along, you can go to theawareshow.com/energy codes. But tell us about it.
Sure. Now, it's not the first time I've taught the course. I've taught the course for 15 years.
Oh,
But it's the first time I've taught the course online.
online,
First
thanks.
time I've taught the traditional classical energy codes coursework online, and people have been asking me to do it for years, and I've just been having such a fabulous time doing what I'm doing that I haven't been able to sit down and get it done. So we've done that now. We wrote the book. We got that big project, in motion, and it's out in the world and being translated into, I don't know how many, 14 or 15 different languages already.
Amazing.
And
Great.
we have people in, multiple countries around the world that are studying it, reading it, and teaching from it. We have a whole facilitator program teaching people how to teach from the book if they become interested in that. But first things first, those people around the world were wanting us to have, how do we have access to you without having to get on a plane and fly across the Pacific Ocean to come to get there, or fly across the Atlantic to get there? So we created this online version, and everyone is thrilled about it. And it's happening in October, and it's coming up fast.
Now,
And
yes, that's exciting. Yes.
getting ready for it. So it's going to be taught in 5 modules, where the first module is a little longer. It's about 3 hours. And then the next modules are 2 hours apiece. And there's going to be live Q&A. There's going to be people, when they sign up for it, they're going to be included into our online community. So they're going to have access to all kinds of people all over the world that have been taking and studying this work for a long time, so they can get their questions answered and supported with applications and how it fits in different aspects of life, far beyond just our regular meeting time. It'll be a live event that I'll be there answering questions and in making sure that people are getting it. And we're addressing all kinds of fabulous topics on how to, and then how to apply. So how to build circuitry so that you're not using your head to solve your problems. But, Einstein said you can't solve your problems on the same level of thinking that you created them. So what we're doing is getting underneath the thinking world into the gut feeling and those deep responses that are more true than what our mind would come up with, and teaching you how to do that. So then we start applying it to relationships and to your work in the world, your soul purpose, your life purpose. We're working with, financial abundance and physical health and well-being. We're going to apply it to where the rubber meets the road, because that's how we really make the differences in our lives. But you're going to be chock full of practices that you can do. Some that you can do before you even get out of bed in the morning. They're that easy to do.
That's awesome.
And they're meant to be done during life, not you don't have to set aside a separate hour of your day to do these practices to get good at them. They're designed to live life and build new neurocircuitry that allows you to reframe beliefs without even having to concentrate on what are my beliefs, but to really just get in touch with your true authentic self and bring it forward, because it will dissolve the things that are no longer serving you on its own. It knows what it's doing. It's just been kind of held captive when we threw it under the bus a long, long time ago.
See, yes, this is, okay, so this is, in my opinion, the future of medicine, in my opinion, and that's actually here now, this is how we take control of our health. We take control of our states, our mind states, which allows us to take control of our relationships, our career, our parenting, whatever it is that we do, because it takes personal responsibility right inside of you, which is all you're ever responsible for. I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm talking about managing this right here in order to change that out there. It is, gosh, how do I explain? I'm just, you're doing a great job of explaining it, but I am very excited about this, because I think that the old tools, a lot of old tools aren't necessarily working with the pace that we're at these days. And if you really want to make the change, because change is happening so rapidly now, I mean, look at Dr. Sue. She took on and said yes to things that she knew would make a difference in the world. Did she have the time beforehand? No. But now you've expanded that sense of self and time to take on building a course, writing a book, doing a show on Gaia, in addition to the clinical practice and helping other people. This is possible for all of us. This isn't just, Dr. Sue's doing. This is the whole point. She's teaching us how to be these incredible, just beautiful, full potential humans. That's what I see this is. That's what I like. I want to be a full potential human. Yeah. Well, so if anyone has questions, by the way, you can raise your hand. There's a raise your hand technology here. And you can ask questions directly to Dr. Sue. In the meantime, if you go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/energy codes, and you will see the course that is a live course, and it starts in October, and you will be able to be a part of this course. This is the first time it's ever been offered online. Very exciting. And if you're a practitioner, if you are in the field of the healing arts, if you are making a transition, if you're dealing with pain, grief, illness, it does go across the board on something like this. And that's what you can learn. It really does. It helps on all levels, right? So
it absolutely does, because there's only one being here, and it's you. It's the individual, and every aspect of their life becomes affected when they start operating from a totally different place. Here's the deal. The reason that the practices that people have been trying haven't been working, if they haven't been working, is typically because they are identified as their mind. They think that's who they are. That's the only thing they access. They think their way through things. They try to outsmart themselves before to make better decisions tomorrow than we did yesterday. We think that we have to learn more and in an educated fashion, outsmart the world. And it's tough to do, because the world is more than just an analytical mind can process. Obviously, we have the miraculous. We have a physical human being that is a miraculous thing in and of itself. We are more than just our minds. And so what I'm teaching people to do is to come from something else, to come from wisdom, to come from their soulful, essential self versus just coming from their intellect. When we just come from our intellect, life is limited. And if we don't learn enough, we can't manifest enough. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can manifest things and wonder how in the heck it happened. I turn around all the time and wonder, how did my life turn out like this? How did it get so amazingly good? Because I was happy before in my practice. I was enjoying that. And then it got better. Then, I had this transcendent experience where I was in this multiple dimensional reality. And all of a sudden I knew there is so much more to life than what we think. And so I started exploring that and developing it. And in the process of doing that, so much fell into place. And I cannot emphasize enough that what you need to learn is how to listen to your authentic self, and not just listen to your gut, but how to cultivate those messages so that it's a super highway that's rushing up to your awareness, telling you how to make the decisions, telling you what to do, telling you what matters, not allowing your chattering mind to get in the way and shut you down again. It's time to stop that process and to live in our true whole self, meaning we're accessing our hearts and our personal power and our deep wisdom and our inherent wisdom that we possess, or that we are, when we recognize who we really are. We're not our minds. We're not that. And that's what, when my patients, my clients, the students of the Energy Codes work, the number one thing that has caused disease, illness, stress, overwhelm, the inability to make their lives work, to feel successful, to have an out picturing of fulfillment and satiation in life, it is all not because they have bad habits, not because they have limiting beliefs only. It's because they're identified as the part of them that is 100% controlled by their beliefs. And so if you decrease the importance of your thinking analytical mind all the time, and just drop it down a little bit and build up something else that's thousands of times exponentially larger and more comprehensive and more brilliant than your mind, you've got it all. Then you'll have it all. The problem is people just don't realize that that's an option to even do.
Could we do a process here where we are able to drop into our bodies? And you're talking about your body, your being, right? And get a little out of our minds, because it is, you know, I definitely want this to be an experience for people as well. We've been talking a lot about the potential.
Sure.
Can we do this?
Absolutely.
I thought so.
So one of the things that we have to do to easily come out of our heads and drop down into our body is just start belly breathing. First of all, just start breathing in your belly, where you're not breathing up here, but you're breathing down here in your belly. That when you take an inhale, it is below your navel. That your chest isn't moving at all. Just below your navel, things are moving. And as you do so, you start to fill this lower body with a sense of fullness, like a big Buddha belly. You have permission for your belly to hang out over the top of your pants right now.
Okay.
In fact, you're even better at it if you're doing that. So you win if you've got a big belly, okay? So in this, we're breathing this way. Now, here's a way to even enhance that more. Squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit together, just toward each other. Just squeeze them toward each other. Then, and keep breathing in your belly. Okay, now I start to feel a little anchored. I'm anchored to my spine a little bit more, because the shoulder blades and the diaphragm and the spine, they all have an interrelationship that keeps them bonded when we do this. We want that bondedness to be there so that the mind and the body and the breath are starting to work together with each other. So we've got the shoulder blades squeezed and we're breathing in the belly. Now, for just a moment, just want you to roll your eyes up. Just for a moment, roll them up, and there's some tension you can feel behind your eyes when they're rolling. You feel that tension?
Yeah.
Now, drop down from that tension like a plumb line, right down behind your eyes, in through your throat, right to where the shoulder blades are being squeezed a little bit. And there's a line that we want to just imagine. Now, imagine it and then drop back in there and try to be inside that channel, be inside that line. And then there's one more piece to this that's going to really cinch it for you. If you were going to the bathroom and you had to stop the stream all of a sudden, you had to squeeze everything to just make it stop. If you just squeeze those muscles right now, just squeeze those muscles, you can relax everything else we were talking about for a moment and just squeeze those muscles and keep them squeezed as if you were stopping that flow, stopping the stream if you're going to the bathroom, okay? So you're squeezing that, and now breathe in your belly. So you're squeezing, but you're breathing, and that combination creates some resistance there. And it's kind of like, do I squeeze or do I breathe? And the answer is yes. Squeeze and breathe, and it's gonna push out while you're pulling in. And we want that resistance against each other so that we can start to feel, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be living in my body. I didn't know that. Deep in there, deep in your core. So you squeeze it back, and then you're pushing it out with your breath, and you're squeezing it back with your muscles, and you're pushing it out with your belly breath, and you're pulling it back with your muscles. And it's just kind of right there. It's just happening right there. That resistance, if you create that resistance in your body, you will not have to create resistance in your outer world in order to figure out who you are. We learn through resistance. So let's just do it in here where it's nice and peaceful and quiet, and we're not causing a ruckus out there in the world, okay? You squeeze that and breathe. You just squeeze that and breathe. And then if you can, bring the shoulder blades back into it, and then roll your eyes and feel that tension behind your eyes. And what we're doing is we're anchoring ourselves in the core of the body. And now lastly, we're just going to take a breath. We're going to imagine that we're breathing a breath from above our head, right down through the top of the head, right into the center of the brain, right into the center of the throat, right into the center of the chest, right in the center of the belly. Inhale right into that belly. And then exhale, just imagine that you're shooting it down into the earth. And keep all those things contracted while you're doing it, if you can. Or just the mula bandha, just that root lock at the base where you were squeezing it to stop the stream. If you were going to the bathroom, you squeeze that. So then take a breath up from in the earth, up into the belly, and then hug your heart. Just squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then exhale, shoot that right up through your throat, roll your eyes up and shoot it right into that tension behind the eyes and out the top of your head.
Wow, it's like a Kundalini rising experience.
Yeah.
That is, whew.
So what happens is we start to become more present when we breathe this way. We start to land inside of ourselves. And belly breathing with this mula bandha, just squeezing that at the base of the pelvic bowl and squeezing your shoulder blades, just those two a little bit, will start to like settle you. In fact, if you're driving down the road and you're upset about something, you squeeze these muscles and breathe like I'm talking about, and you won't even be able to stay upset. You won't even understand why.
Oh.
It will
I'm
just
feeling this right now. I want to hear from you guys. Someone's saying, "Ah, that's great." Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're feeling this. I'm getting a lot of good response here. Yeah. Let's squeeze and breathe. Squeeze and breathe.
Squeeze and breathe. Squeeze and breathe. It's easy. So here's what happens. You're starting to activate this invisible Kundalini energy, the active energy that integrates all your different levels of consciousness and who you are. It combines, it starts to weave together your wisdom with your power, with your loving self. And the next thing you know, you're having all these experiences inside, no matter what's going on in your hoorah day at work, and maybe something's not going so great with your family or whatever. You squeeze and breathe, and pretty soon you're going to be like, yeah, okay,
this.
Not bothering me.
I can handle it. Yeah.
You're starting to animate and activate karmic levels. If someone is interested in studies, that kind of study, you're activating karmic residue, and you're disseminating it and you're burning it up. If you're into energy medicine, you're starting to resolve unresolved emotional residue that is locked up in the tissues in your body. It starts to set them free and starts to put them in this giant washing machine that starts to disseminate that and detoxify your body. And all of a sudden you free up all kinds of energy that you didn't even know you had, because you've been wasting it for so many years. You've acclimated to not having it. So,
and then all of the spots and the stuck energy in the way, it just starts to move it on out. It just starts to, like a washing machine would perturbate the dirt. It starts to move it out.
Yes. Yeah. So this toric energy field shape that the biofield is in, I visualize it like that. You know, the old-fashioned lawnmower that, you know, you pushed it and it went da, 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 and it was just these blades that were spinning, and they chopped up all the little grass blades. So that toric field is kind of doing the same thing, like this old-fashioned lawnmower, where it's just cutting the blades. It's cutting through the old patterns. It literally pushes the energy through in a manner that the body hasn't been able to do on its own, because of circuits that you don't have in place, and the energy's been trying to weave its way up through your body. But what we're doing is decreasing that compromised flow and allowing that flow to become robust and powerful and rising up through your whole system, so that compensatory way of being that we have, like we sidestep, or we soft shoe, or we say yes when we really mean no, or we go to parties we really don't want to go to, or we engage in things, or we regret, or we have remorse. All of that stuff just starts to dissolve, because you're actually able to be powerful enough to operate from your own authenticity. And people are happy around you because you're so darn happy. So it's not like you're upsetting people when you say no thank you. You're saying no thank you, and here's why. I just don't want to. I want to do this instead. And if you want to come do this with me, awesome, I'd love to have you. And when they see your joy, they get on board with a new way of thinking and being and living too. They want to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, happens
Yes,
all
you
the time.
become contagious in this space because you feel freedom. And the freedom gives you that expanded awareness of being able to say yes to the things that you want to say yes to and
Yeah.
no to the things that you don't want to say yes to, no to. Okay, look, anybody, I want you to chime in here. Tell me if this is what you're experiencing. If you understood that exercise, if you're feeling that energy from that exercise, come on in. Come on and join us on this. You can either raise your hand through the raise your hand technology or type it there in the chat. And then just, type in a yes, type in a longer, type in whatever it is that you want to, that you're experiencing here, and let us know how you experience that exercise. Because you're an active part of this call. I know sometimes people are a little shy or they're in watch mode, but the whole point of conscious media is to be in active involvement in a call like this, in a show like this. And that's the whole point of this, is to bring it into this active involvement. And that's why I wanted to introduce you, if you haven't heard of the energy codes before, or even if you have, and if you're, especially if you're in any type of healing arts or practitioner or a business or entrepreneurship, this is a place for you to become active in your body. And to, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, there's a lot of energy out there that keeps you stuck. It is very, very, very heavy. And this is our responsibility to alleviate this energy and then expand your sense of self, let go of the unconscious blocks, and then start to flourish, start to attract, manifest, live your best darn life. So, okay, I'm looking here, bright lights, shine bright like a diamond.
Yes, yes.
All right. So, all right, as you're going through these experiences and as you're learning more about the energy in your own body and what's available to you, go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/energy codes. And on that website, you'll see this course, and it begins, when does it officially begin? In October?
In October.
Okay.
Yes. It's about halfway through the month. I think it's like the 19th. Let's see.
All right.
Nope,
We do have someone who wants to come on. Someone who has a question. Let's bring it on. Oh, wait. There we go. Dawn. Hi, Dawn. We're trying to get off this. There we go. Okay. Hi, Dawn. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. And thank you for what you're doing, Lisa. And Dr. Sue, thank you for what you're doing. I think it's wonderful.
Awesome.
Pleasure.
Change people's minds. Einstein also told us that the reason we create war and are about to self-destruct is because of the way we think. And the one solution, we've got to change the way we think, where we cooperate. So my question to you is, could you offer your ideas? How would what your technique and what you're doing apply to the biggest problem we have, which is the threat we have of a nuclear war and the problem with world situation? What is it that we can do? We know that we want happiness, enough, love, and peace, but we seem to be filling our world with fear, scarcity, hate, and war. Would you have any thoughts about how can you take this to, you're talking about the individual, can you take this to a next scale for what you're doing?
Yes, we can. Thank you. It's a beautiful question. Thank you for being conscious on such a level that it's beyond the individual, and it's about society, and it's about humanity at large. And that is the bottom line behind everything that matters most in life, right? And so this work is very much intended to be making a contribution to a bandwidth of consciousness that elevates others. And here's what I mean. When your toric field is becoming more perfected because you're learning how to build the circuits to make this wobbling rise of your energy more robust and stable, as we're learning how to do that, our energy field, our biofield that's moving, which is called the toric field, starts to become more perfected and less distorted. When it is more perfected, it has an influence on perfecting the field of the person or the persons that walk through your area without them even knowing what hit them. It has an influence on their field. This is how the Christed being or the Buddhic being could walk through a village and people 30 miles away would heal. It was because they had embodied their true, whole, full essence, and
Wow.
their field was having a transmuting effect. So there's a grid work. There is a bandwidth of consciousness that every human being is stuck in, is a part of. And what we're doing is contributing to perfecting that entire bandwidth, the more and more of us around the planet that are doing this work. And by doing so, we have an influence on our immediate environment, but we also have an influence on a non-local environment because we're changing the bandwidth that everyone is tapped into. So every single time that someone embodies a revelation and a forgiveness and a new idea, or allows for their greater life to be manifesting, their energetic body changes the moment that that happens. When their energetic body changes, it taps the frequency of that same radio station in every other human being. So if someone is depressed and they do this work and they build the connection for wisdom to rise and they start experiencing that, other people that are depressed have an up-leveling of their vibrational radio station that they're tapped into, which is causing that depression to persist because the energies were static. So as we get it moving, we're up-leveling the streams of consciousness that people are associated with, and it is having an impact on in a global manner. So likewise, if we could have enough people on the planet doing this, we would have enough people like the 100th monkey that you may be, a concept that you may be familiar with, that when enough of a species begin behaving in a particular way, the rest of the species begins behaving in that same way because they're all dialed into the same frequency. So if we have enough people finding love and accessing wisdom and living and breathing from that place every day, it has an influence energetically on people we never meet. And that's the whole idea, right? That's how we become connected to the unity consciousness and allow that oneness to truly prevail in love instead of destruction and survivorship.
It's more teach by example rather than prescription.
You got it.
It's the only way.
You got it. You got it. Thank you for contributing, John. I appreciate it. I always love hearing from you. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, nice to meet you, Don.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up because I promised to take only an hour of people's time, but really not even to take your time, but to add to your time, to have a great rest of your evening and rest of your week because of this call is our goal. And with the brilliant Dr. Sue Morter, it makes it even better. And I encourage you to take this course because it is a way to dive in deeply into this experience that Dr. Sue is talking about and what Don brought up. It enhances our overall well-being in our planet. It really, truly does affect the biofield of ourselves and of our earth, so of our environment. So thank you for being here. I don't want to mention the replay of this will be up on YouTube. So if you go to the either type in Lisa Garr or the Aware Show on YouTube, you'll be able to watch the replay. Later on tonight, you can share it with your friends and so forth and get the same experience. You can go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/energy codes, and take the course, be a part of the course, be a part of increasing and raising your own vibrational frequency so that you can create and manifest what you truly want in your life and for the lives of others. And that's pretty much why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue. It's such a great joy to see you in person.
Always. Yes, it's so fun to connect with you every time. And I look forward to when we get to be live together coming up as well. So
lots of stuff coming up. We play in a lot of arenas together, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. So I appreciate you and I love you. And thank you so much for everything. And I want to say thank you to my team here, James and Gina, who are chatting with you guys in the back end who help make all of this happen. So thank you both so much. You're my angels. And until next time, I invite you all to stay aware.